All right, my friends, here we go. This is the Chess Dojo training program. We do this every Wednesday, sometimes Thursday if there's overflow. And there might be this week because we got a full 33 graduates. That's a lot. And my eyes often can't take it when I do so much. I could start from the bottom or the top. I guess people like me to start from the bottom just because that's where they're used to it. So I thought for a second I'd start from the top, but maybe we'll get the higher rated people tomorrow. First dude is a guy from Kentucky. Let's go see what's going on. Joined a couple months back, made great progress. Oh, amazing progress. And here he is graduating. Beautiful. Yeah. Okay. Is there a Kentucky Chess Club? Louisville Legends. There we go, buddy. Yeah, Louisville is getting better at chess. All right. And we got games. My games. Nothing. Okay. Now, these ones confuse me. We don't want blitz and we don't want daily. So a guy from Kentucky. First of all, this is for everybody. Uh-oh, I was just outside and now I got a boogie running off my nose. We want to put the games for a variety of reasons, but every chess player, whether you're GM or just beginning, needs a file called My Game. So all of the serious games that you annotate need to go into this little bucket. All right, Subranol is here. I don't know how to say that name. All right, here we go. Next up, we got Zach G. I remember Zach, I think. Only took me about 2 months to get this second graduation. Really happy with my progress. The main thing has been drilling the tactics over and over again in First Chess Workbook, Bulgar Mate Ones, and reviewing the games afterwards. These 30-minute games have been great. Won almost all of them, and being able to take my time and think deeply has been a game changer. Thanks for the program. Thank you, Zach. Thanks for crushing it. Look at this, dude. Now, I just want to warn people that when you just join and start studying the dojo training program, you maybe haven't played chess that much. It's going to look like this. Your rating graph is going to go up. It won't be that always, but this is just a beautiful thing. And you can see that Zach G, boom, putting in the work since he's been here. 2 graduations. That's why the program works, dude. That's why it works. All right, Zach, where are you from, bud? Clubs, Maryland. I'm in that one, dude. I'm in that one. Okay, great. And then here we go, My Games. And we got 2. I'm going to guess I might have looked at the other one. Let's see what's going on here. First off, we can see this time management rating. And this is very good. We want you to think a little more even, but this is a very good clock graph. And you can see that just one of the ways in which you are going to be able to beat players around your level is them moving too fast, too impulsive. So that part of it looks good. Actually, let me give you my little spiel. I do this all the time. First, while I'm giving my spiel, let me reset these windows here. My spiel is that up to about 1,000 dojo, 1250chess.com, there's really 3 things. The hardest to learn and the most important is not hanging stuff. That's where these games are decided. Not hanging stuff and taking stuff. Then number 2, taking your time. In general, at this level, people are moving too fast. And number 3 is the easiest to learn, but at this level, it becomes more consequential the more higher we get, is bringing out your coconuts, developing your pieces, is the easiest of all 3 skills to learn. All right. Oh, cool, Sobrano. All right. Is 1,000 graduates happening today as well? Well, grungy. There are 33 graduates this week. In general, I try to finish it all in one day, but, when there's 33, I don't know. So if I get to a point where my eyes are bleeding, I'm going to stop and then reboot it tomorrow. Okay? So here we go. Boom, boom. Check, not a good move. blocking the bishop. Good move. Poor. The reason this is poor is black could now take and mess up your pawns. C6, they miss it. Castles. F6, poor move. Very poor move. H3, and it's probably definitely a mistake to take, but they're already in a little trouble, by the way. And one of the things that this is great is, what I want you to see is the failure of black is not simply one of like missing this tactic. The tactic has become available because black didn't develop their coconuts. That's how it became available. So that's, remember the three things here. And so we saw in this game, black did not take their time sufficiently. They're definitely not developing their coconuts. And here they're hanging something. Good move. Fine. Weird. I don't like this one. Why? Because you're really developing the knight. It's better to make him beg for it. You know, play like queen e6 intending rook e1. Okay, I still like queen e6. Good move. Okay. Ooh, that's not good. Bishop e2. Okay, I would rather have you play queen g5 or queen h6. Good. Weird, but okay. You're full control here. Poor move. Now, one of the things to see about this is that you're obviously winning. Even after g4, you're winning, of course. But you want to activate this knight. See how it's kind of dominated by these pawns? There's several ways of doing it. One would be just to go take those pawns. If you take those pawns, then the knight will be free. You could also activate it this way. But the point is you must activate the bad piece. Good. They love to do random checks. Good move. That was weird, king g3. Yeah. You said f3 would be better. I want you to fix the knight. Okay? Do something with the knight. Yeah, now I'm getting a little nervous. A little nervous. Good move. He should have played rook e1. Look at this. On rook e1, is it... I guess you got to then immediately play king d2 and you're okay, but it's getting a little freaky. That's a bad move. Yep. Oh, God. Now, why didn't they take the knight? Oh, no. Okay, so notice. This is one of the fundamental skills is you need to take their coconuts and then, shepherd it to the end without hanging your own coconuts. And there we hung a bunch. All right, knight g3. Check. Good. Good. And queen h3, please. Knight f5 is good enough. I wanted you to play queen h3 to win the rook because you're hitting the king. Well done. Well done. So that was the famous Zach G. He is working. And honestly, I'm going to say that just based on that he is going to graduate again pretty soon. Whilst there were some mistakes, it seemed to me that he was playing at a higher level than 406. Can anyone explain the graduation program, the training program graduation stuff? Well, first of all, there are different rating systems. There's ChessCom, there's USCF, there's FIDE, there's Lichess. And so we created a rating system that translates all those into one. That's the first thing we had to do. And then we gave people a bunch of tasks that would help them get to the next level. And so graduation just means you've hit the next 100-point band, right? So he is now in the 400 to 500 and is looking to be into the 500 to 600. Probably will get there soon, right? Probably get there soon. Okay, so let's continue. We got to cross 110th Street. I'm going to guess that's a New York reference. And they have joined and have made great progress on Lichess and mostly doing tactics. Let's see. Nope. If it's a New York reference, I want a New York club. Let's look at this one. Do we got some times? We do. Now, again, notice our dojoer is doing much better than the impulsive moves of his opponent. So that's already really good news. Let's go take a look. B3, weird. One of the things about openings is at this level, we don't want you studying openings. We want you just learning how to make good moves. Now, why is B3 wrong? Because this bishop's already out. You don't need another move to get this guy out. Weird. Okay. Snip. Fine. Weird. Why? Because you're not developing. I want you to bring your pieces out. I don't like that one. Bishop B7 is also good. He plays B5. Okay. Rook H8. Now, maybe he thinks he's going to castle next. I don't think, though, that you're allowed to castle after moving the rook. All right. Maybe he tried to castle and the computer was like, nope, can't do that, buddy. Knight G5. Of course, I want you to play Knight D2. See what I'm saying? The development game is not hard to learn. You just got to develop your coconuts. Weird. And the big question here would be, could dude have trapped your bishop? That's the scary thing. Finally bringing out our knight. Good, I like that, activating the knight. Good, but poor move for him to take. And now you're doing great. Definitely knight takes e6, looks fine. That's a dirty trick. Okay, that's just a dirty trick. You have d1. Poor move. What do they need to do? They need to bring out their coconuts. Bring the rook out. d8, e8. I like that move. You're trying to get your rook on a1 into the game. That isn't it. And now you take the queen. Thank you very much. Check to the miserable. Check to the miserable. Don't like that. What are you doing? Why a5? Notice that a5 is just really a loss of time. And you're still winning, but it doesn't help you. All right, I don't understand. Good move. I don't really understand g5. Queen f6 is good. That wasn't good, huh? They hang the coconuts. We take the coconuts. Very nice. Okay, across 110th Street, that was pretty good. And I also think that you will graduate soon based on that performance. And hopefully I've said a couple constructive things. Ladybug made it, dude. Ladybug is here. All right, you guys, let me just explain what's going on here with Ladybug. So I've been running this class for several months now. I've done a bunch of different cohorts throughout the dojo. I'm trying to make what I'm about to describe a more permanent feature. And so what it is, it's a game annotation workshop, but I also spend some time looking deeply at profiles of people. And here with the game review, I'm saying constructive things. Oh, excuse me, I'm on the wrong template here. Hopefully I'm saying constructive things, but really what we would do in the annotation is go a little deeper. And so this group, it's usually about 4 to 6 people. They meet before they meet me, talk about the games that we're gonna look at. And so it's a really cool group. I think they're maybe sparring with each other, they're studying with each other, becoming friends. And then we meet and talk about their questions. And it's been great. It's been a really cool experience. Let's read what Ladybug says. Thank you to the class members I have met and helped me move up the ladder. A special shout out to G-Hit Garage for all the help, Rump Roar Chewing, and belief in me. Rump Roar Chewing. To Jesse, one of the best teachers, oh, thank you very much. I had the pleasure of learning from. It is because of your help this graduation is happening. The dojo is a wonderful way to grow your chess ability, despite being one of the hardest challenges I ever faced. Beautiful, Ladybug. Now check it out. Ladybug, my friends, is working. This woman is on a mission. And she is hitting, she's got a goal of 7 hours, and she is just hitting it week after week. And, not easy. Now, I will tell you that Ladybug has a particular challenge, and that is that her tactics aren't great. And so she's working, for example, on the puzzle rush and the survival and other tactics, and that is her weakness. And that makes this graduation even more impressive. And I'm hoping that what we got out of the workshops has helped her be competitive over the board, even though her tactics aren't that strong. For example, taking your time, right? Bringing out your people, right? She's gotten a much better positional sense, and that will help you a lot when it comes to the tactical struggles. All right, let's take a look here. No, join a club, Ladybug. Come on now. All right, so now we might do that game. I think that's 1021. Let's do the one from 1021. So boom. And she might be in the chat. So she writes, I am hoping to make 750 before the end of the current class. If I do, I'll be able to join the next class. So what I've done is I started, the first one was like 0 to 700 was the range. And then I did 3 to 8. And then the next one I think will be 4 to 9. And so with this graduation, right, she's made 4 to 5 now. So she's in 4. She is eligible to be in the next class. And like I said, I would like to make it so that everybody, not just the people, in these different cohorts, can do this all the time. Because especially if it's a continual thing, I think it will really help those that are motivated. Okay, fine. It's a little weird because you're encouraging them to smack you here with C6. But okay, they smack you, fine. Poor move, not developing. Stockfish wanted the more aggressive A4, conservative me went A3. Now, what do I want from you? I want you to develop, so either castles or D4. A3. Okay, we're playing nice and slow. That's okay. A5. Poor, it's not doing anything, A5. Good move. Fine. Not sure. Fine. Poor. Not developing. Poor. Okay. So she doesn't want the knight on G4, but one of the things I want her to really appreciate is that these wild attacks that they're going to throw at you should be met with just calm development. So moving the knight out. Okay, also fine. Now that seems like too much. So, D4. This is an interesting move. What we got to talk about, though, Ladybug, is can we take the knight? Can we take the knight? You say HG, and this was suggested by Aotis. By the way, in this group, it's really cool. They are going to review these games together. And, if any game that you comment on in the dojo, and, you'll show up, your little icon will show up. So, boom. I don't see it, by the way, for black. Now, it is scary. Like, if the queen could magically land on H4, then we're toast. But I don't see it, how they're landing magically on G4. Okay, D4. Bishop D5, that's a blunder. And then you say, DE5, I lose it. My coconut bishop is dead meat. But look, Ladybug, this bishop is just pure hanging. Pure hanging. So this is the fundamental skill that we need to make it, as I said, above 1250. Now, it'll get you higher than what we are, but the reason I say 1250 is around that level is when people stop hanging their coconuts. Okay, DE5, bishop E3. Now we're in trouble. FE3. Now, yeah, we're in a little trouble. Queen F1. Now, if we think about it, we'd rather get the rook involved, right? Let's get the rook involved. Okay, well, at least you get the rook involved this way. I did it. No, Jesse, that is not a coconut. It is bait for a trap. Now, the cool thing is this. Oh, Kraai, you're not on the right template, you jerk. You're not on the right template. I'm sorry about that. Jeez, Melise, Kraai. How come no one in chat told me? How come chat didn't tell me? So here we are back in the right template. I'll cruise through this game so you can see it. I'm sorry I didn't do it. So here we go. If you were watching and like, Kraai, I can't see anything. So there's where I wanted HG4. There's where I wanted bishop G5. And now we get this situation. And now, you know, what we should honor here is despite the fact that she has missed several tactics that we'd like her to see, she now has the inventiveness for a very nice and dirty trap with taking on E5 here. Now, black should definitely trade queens. Definitely trade queens. Boom. Check to the miserable king. And now knight e5, and now we missed the maiden one. But it's toast, and then black resigned. Okay, and she says, when I checked my chess.com score, I was at 750. Right. All right, so yeah, Ladybug, you have earned your way into the next class where we're going to get slightly more hectic competition. And the thing that we need you to see, there's all this tactical work, okay? All the tactical work is going to come down to basic positions like this, where your opponents are going to hang something blatantly, and we just want to take it. We want to say, thank you very much for playing. Give me those coconuts, right? Okay. Well done, Ladybug. All right, let's go back. Next up, we have Kenji Tsuka, and he wants to look at a game with Fidoratsta. Okay, great, we will do that. Let's go look at Kenji Tsuka. Have gone up a bit. You can see Kenji Tsuka is making it really good here, doing a lot of tactics. Okay. And the tactics ratings, by the way, suggest that Kenji Tsuka is going to go up again soon. All right. Do we got clubs, Kenji Tsuka? The Dutch Dojo. All right. And we got games, my games. Now, he wanted Fidoratsta, so we're going to do that one. First, we're going to take a look at L times. And we're going to say, thank you very much. Your opponent did not think really, right? So, again, one of the ways that you can improve dramatically, one of the 3 things you need to do to make it out of 1,000 is to not move super fast. It might seem obvious, but you will see your opponents will move fast, just like this chump here that our man, our champion, is playing. All right, game review. Fine. Fine. Okay. Little weird because they're not developing, but okay. Good move. Very solid. I like it a lot. Very nice. Bishop G5. Knight D7. Fine. This super solid. Bishop F6. Knight F6. Fine. A3 doesn't make any sense. Queen b6. Okay. And now do we snip it? Bang, we do. So it looks like White needed to think a moment here. He played this rook ad1 in 34 seconds. And my guess is that he still could play queen d3 or e3. No, d3 is more better. Because if queen b2, then rook fb1, I think is going to win the queen. So that's the kind of move that if he were thinking longer, he might find. All right, rook ad1, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good. c4 doesn't do much. Snip. And now you say queen trading was good, and he says he missed the pawn fork. Correct. Good. Also notice that you missed knight e4. Now, let me just say the obvious, or maybe it should be obvious. We would rather play this move to keep this rook behind our passed pawn. The other rook, same reason, is better. Uh-oh, we blew it. Rook d7. Now we blew that one. Now the game has become very complicated all of a sudden. Okay, so we want to just say this is the kind of mistake where we're hanging stuff, and this is the thing where reason I say this is the most fundamental of the three skills, because this is where the game will be decided. Mistakes like this. Rook c8. Okay. All right. And now rook e8. Thinking almost 2 minutes on rook e8. I would say king f8. You want to get ready to take this pawn. You cannot take the pawn immediately because of a knight e7 check at the end. For example, snip, snop, rop, and top. Right? That's our problem. So we should think about king f8, and then we are threatening the pawn. And in general, our king now wants to come toward the middle of the board. Have you heard about the new chess software developed by a Portuguese player? It's a free chess base with amazing features. I haven't heard about it, but we also have free chess base too. Well, we have a better chess base here at the Dojo site. All right, here we go. Snip, snap. Okay. Now this scares me, rook b7, because you're allowing d6 to happen. You like this? I calculated this last move, so I had this in the bag to not lose. Boom. Boom. A2. This is a genius level move. And now knight c5, double question mark. But is there a way out? I think there is. And what I would want from the annotation is to find... No, I think it's already gone. No. So you give knight c5 double question mark, but I don't think he can save himself anymore. I'm not seeing it. So, nice move. And if, by the way, if White had thought more, he would have thought about, say, rook a1 here. That's genius level. Genius level. I think he's done. Good move. Welcome to the dojo. Welcome to the dojo. So, Kenji, great game. And I want to stress, I'm going to just show this, is your time management rating was 2690. This chump was 1400. And to my mind, that's one of the key reasons you won this game. Okay, well done. Ba-bam. We're on to Samsia. Let's see what's going on with Samsia. So, Samsia has been doing a lot of tactics, joined around May, it says. And got a very high tactics rating, so maybe they will make it in the next little bit anyways with that amazing tactics rating. E-board Singapore looks great. Samsia, do we got some games? We got at least one. Bam. And we'll take a look. So no clock times. When you do this, you should be able to import the clock times. All right, let's go game review. Just looking at this. This is a live chess thing. Yeah, it's always impossible to bring in the clock times. Good move. Poor. Not developing. Good. 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 Simple chess. Thank you very much. Yeah, you're doing amazing. That's a little too fancy, Kraai, but we should point out that h3 is also possible because of queen g2 is got rook. No, it's not even true, Kraai. I take it all back. I take it all back. I wish I hadn't said it. Castle's correct. Queen g6. Now, again, it's not just a tactical mistake, it's a strategic mistake. Dude needs to develop his pieces. e5. Can't be bad. Now, well, you just win it. So, thank you very much. Good move. Frisky. Bishop e7 seems safer. a3. I'd take that thing. Good. 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 Simple chess. Bishop b5. Unsure about this. b5 looked like a safe square. And this is what we're talking about, where you're hanging your coconuts. So I hope you guys understand what I mean by like the hanging of the coconuts is the thing that is causing these games to be decided. What's a good move? d5 at some point should be an idea. We can't do it yet, again, because of queen d5. So what's a good move? Rook e1. All right. This is very fancy. Taking on c6 is obviously a good move. Moving the bishop is a good move. Let's give him a check. Good move. Oh, that's fancy. That's very fancy. And now your opponent blunders with rook e8, but what happens on ab? It feels like you have some kind of drama, but I don't see the drama yet. I don't see it. So in the game, dude blundered, and we went whack. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for playing. Okay, good. So, Samsia, you're doing great. I think we're going to see you again soon. As I said, your tactics rating is amazing. Next up, we got Neil. What does Neil have to say for himself? Neil has also made amazing progress, though not marking anything on his heat map except the graduation. I think the graduations happened without him doing anything to it. He's been here for a while, so we don't know anything about Neil. We might not find anything at all about Neil. Neil is a ghost. Neil's a ghost. But he is doing well. He is doing well. So that's Neil, my friends. Next up, we have Tall Hal. Tall Hal says, just playing lots of 15-10 games and working through the suggested books. I'm also lucky enough to have a local club where I can play longer OTBs 2 times a week. Not so good at tracking the work I'm putting in. You are not alone. All right, you can see that Tall Hal, living in St. Petersburg, Florida, might not be good at tracking the work he's doing, but he is doing an amazing run with the rating, getting 229 since joining the dojo earlier this year. So, an amazing progress, and now in the 800 to 900 cohort. Easy chess. Okay, let's go look. Tall Hal, maybe you'll get a St. Petersburg, Florida club. That's something we could wish for. Do we got no games, Tall Hal? Well, Tall Hal, I just want to say you're doing great. And if you could go to that club and annotate some of the OTBs you're playing, oh, That would be a great thing for everybody involved. Okay, so there it is. There's Tall Hal. Next up, we have G Hit Chess. Now, if you remember, this is the dude that Ladybug credited for a lot of her success. Let's read what he says. Seems too fast, but I will finish all the work in this cohort as well as the following one. That means there are tasks unfinished that he wants to do as well as the next cohort's tasks. I think we should probably look at the game versus Grandpa that I played in the Dojo Classical. Couldn't have made it this far, this fast without the aid of the dojo and many of its members, hoping to play everyone in the future. There we go. So here's G-Hit, and we're going to look at Grandpa. But first, we're just going to admire. Look at that. This is a man on a mission. He has also got a really cool podcast. Watch over here. Called Late to Chess. So we're going to check that out too. I want to give a pump for that. He is in this class that I've been doing. Very helpful with helping the other players organize the times. He is the one who has done a lot of the recordings of their meetings. So if you miss a meeting, he has recorded it so that you can watch it later. Very helpful, very appreciated. Okay, so 872, dude. Dude, what are you doing, G-Hit? You're way up there, man. You are flying. Look at this, 586. Dang. So his USCF is a little lower. Eventually, he's probably playing not as much USCF, but we want him to think about that long term as a playing goal. He's with me in the 50 plus club, and he's up there in Scranton or somewhere near to Scranton. So he's got this area chess desert. If you are up in Scranton, you need to get part of that club and help him out. Okay, games. Where's Grandpa? There's Grandpa. First, now I just want to stress one of the things that G-Hit has had a problem with and has worked on very diligently has been using his time. When we first started the workshop, he was not using his time. So that is one of the things I'm about to click that time button I'm looking for. Sweet Blues asks, doesn't this guy graduate last week too? Yes, the guy is working. And there it is. Very reasonable time graph, though we could maybe hope for this to be a little bit better. You can see he's got various passes going through with his review process. I like it a lot. Okay, game review. Ba-boom. So I'm going to mark this as reviewed. Good. Fine. Okay. Bishop G5. Now, this is arguably a little passive to play E6, but it's still fundamentally fine. You are in grandmaster territory. Now, here, a lot of grandmasters have very fancy things, but your move might be a little passive, but it's still fundamentally okay. Good move. Fine. Weird. Okay. We just want to say from the principles of development that that can't be right. Can't be right. Notice you got two problem pieces. So a default move could be knight bd7. And the Stockfish said something about dc4. But you could play knight d7 and then fix your bishop. Maybe eventually play c5 to get that bishop out. It's a passive but solid position. So here, you're neglecting the rules of development. Okay, he takes. The Stockfish wants bishop g3. I do as well, and I want to explain. Black has put himself into an incredible cramp. So this queen, for example, is all stuffed up. When white trades, he helps our queen develop. It's a developing move. And the trades are helping black free the position a little bit. So bishop g3, exclam, keeps black in that tight box. Yellow asks, a question about graduation. Should I graduate as soon as I pass the rating threshold? I did not manage to finish that much of the dojo work, but I guess it would not change that much with how I am currently training. Maybe just switch some endgame and middle game sparring positions. Good question. So one of the very important things is you don't want to worry about the tasks. The program is designed such that if you were in a situation where you are at a plateau, that then doing all of the tasks should take you to the next level. That's how the program is designed. So when you go to the next level, the tasks are meant to be appropriate for that level. So don't worry about the task. If you're going to worry about anything, just ask yourself, all right, I made this next level, but am I really solid at it? Right? Because you might say to yourself, oh, I got a little lucky, especially if you're playing some online games. And then you could wait a touch to see if it just solidifies at that rating level or if you dip back down. That is a personal call, though. Okay, so bishop e7 helps you out a little bit. Can't talk. Notice 19 seconds spent, not enough. And knight fd7, you spent 2 minutes, but we'd rather have a little bit more. All right, here we go. So, castles. Ooh. Very frisky to play f5. Not a developing move. Now, cd5 is controversial because when you play ed5, you're potentially getting your bad piece out. Poor move. I hope you played knight f6 here. Good move. Poor move, not doing anything. Good move. Now, even though black is moving a developed piece twice, that's the beauty right there. That's a real outpost. 92, that wasn't it. Let's develop. Okay. That's not doing much. Nice. Rook a, b1. Now, I can't speak for white, but a potential goal for this is a very fancy idea called the minority attack. I don't know if your opponent really thought about this, but the minority attack is to play here to try to inflict a pawn weakness on you and maybe activate the rook. So they do it, and now you need a plan. You play a6, fine, and they should play a4. All right, let's go bishop f7. Good. Knight e5, reasonable move. And you play rook fc8. Now, we do have some questionitos here for ourselves. White might be threatening f3, and then when we move the knight to take our pawn. And so even though I was in favor intuitively of bishop f7, I'm beginning to see maybe it's not so good. Okay? It's not easy to know exactly what to do, though. Maybe rook fe8. In any case, this is now a real problem if they find f3. They do not. In principle, this is taking your worst piece. And they blow it. They should be playing f3. g5. I think I'm okay with this move. It's a very fancy move. And he plays knight e3. Now, that is an example, Bill, of opening your kimono here playing g5, right? So we would want to come up with something better. And I see two other ideas. One would be a5 to try to activate this rook. Notice, if b5, I can just take it and then push. I got this little tempo on the queen. And if he doesn't push, then I'm going to take this thing and say, oh, well, I'm active over here with my rook. Okay. Miles Plays Chess is rating us. Thank you very much, Miles. Thank you for rating. We are doing the Chess Dojo training program. We're looking at the famous G-Hit and his game where he has graduated now Again and again, he has done the training program and has graduated again. So, G4, I don't like it. We're not getting our people in. Knight E5. I guess that was his intention. He really wants mate. He wants to mate. HG4. Then this will actually, white takes a long time to think about it here. Knight G4. Snip. Snap. And this says, stops both my pawns push and my queen push. Best move available is bishop G4. Now, bishop G4, that doesn't look right. Okay. Now, knight F2 is a hell of a drug. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe knight F2. Dang. What a move. Look at this. Let's read what he says. Thought for possibly the most time ever. I think through all the lines I could think of to make sure the sacrifice worked. I think this is the first ever true sacrifice that I've ever played, not counting 2 or 3 step tactical trades. Also looked at whether I needed the rook to F8 play prior to this or not. I think it works better if I don't. Wow. So I'm going to say whatever Stockfish says here, I'm going to say knight F2 is a hell of a move. Yeah. So the computer wants rook F1, but we got to say we're doing pretty good after rook F1. It is surprisingly frightening, though, because notice rook F1, knight E4, rook F4, and we're getting our coconuts are being touched here. So that's the reason. However, G-hit, for where you're at, this is a really good move. Just the ability to see it. Okay, let's look at what happened. King F2. Should they have taken longer on that move? Yes. Check. Boom. Smack. Yeah, buddy. Yep. That's really good. So, Bill, I want to say even if knight F2 wasn't the correct move order, the vision to do it, even think about it in the first place, well, that's a hell of a thing. That's a hell of a move. That's really good. When it first played it, too, I was like, I don't know. I didn't know. That's great, man. That's absolutely great. I hope you told him, welcome to the dojo. That was beautiful. All right, my friends, that was G-Hit. He is making progress. And check out his podcast. So that is a beautiful thing here. All right, next up we got Tyler Craig. What does Tyler got to say for himself? Joined, has done some tactics, so we might not see anything. A lot of times people join and we don't see much from them right away. No. So Tyler, welcome to the dojo. Hopefully we'll see some of your work here. It looks like you're beginning to log it and some annotations. All right. Next up, we have Seventh Stitch, who has also graduated numerous times. Let's read what the Seventh Stitch said. My friends, he says, really happy to be graduating for the 8th time. Damn. I feel like the long classical club games are really helping. I always play my best chess online the day after. Time management is still a big problem for me at the club games. I haven't really deviated from my chess work since the start of the program. Every day, I try to incorporate some form of tactical work, play short blunder games, and work on one book from either Polgar Mates, Logical Chess Move by Move, or Learn Chess the Right Way. On Thursdays, I have my club games, and then over the weekends, I try to play a few online classical games, 30 plus, and work on annotating my club games, which I've slacked on the past month. I would like you to review my latest game against Ronald. Okay, great, we will. Now, I do want to say one thing. That's beautiful. At some point, you're going to have to change your program, of course, right? And the simple one that we're going to want you to change is once you pass the 1,000 dojo, we're saying no more to blunder games. Okay, blunder games are like 15-0 games where we're just looking for people to hang stuff. All right, and we want you to move on to longer time controls in general too. One of the things to see, to notice, to think about your progress going on from here is something I mentioned before, and that is once you hit 1,000, your opponents aren't going to be hanging stuff nearly as much. So here we're going to start to see games which aren't decided fully by someone just hanging something. That's what the 1,000 barrier is all about. Okay, great. We're going to look for your game against Ronald. Let's get in here with 7 Stitch. Dang, there he is. Ireland crushing progress over here. We're going to pop this out. Bang, look at this guy. Amazing. Amazing work. Sets himself a goal of 7 hours. Basically makes it every week. An hour a day. Look at that. It's just one of the most impressive progress charts we've seen here at the dojo. All right. Do we got an Ireland club? There we go. Do we got some games? I think we at least have a game with Ronald. So there it is, Ronald Sampson. He's playing somebody about 300 points higher than him. And let's first start with time. There we go. So one of the things he mentioned was that his... actually, let's stay here for a second. He mentioned that his time management was poor. And what we're going to see is usually at this level, it's people moving too fast. Here, he has the problem of moving too slow. And honestly, I think that's, even if it is a problem, might lose a game or two here or there, it's still something that I would rather see than the opposite. Much rather see it than the opposite. Right? Probably one of the reasons he's done so well with the progress. Okay. The time control is 140. I don't know if there's an increment on there. It seems like there isn't. Okay, so let's get into this beauty. All right, boom, boom, boom. Fine. 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 Poor. The reason this is poor is that he can whack you with tempo and knock you out of the center. Again, we want to prevent d4. You could play d4 yourself. d3. This is not great, again, because of d4. A standard way to play this position would either be d4 now or takes and then d4. Okay. All right. He is refusing to do it. He's refusing to do it. Now, knight d2 after 4 minutes thought. So he changes his plan now, and it is a difficult momentito because we've put ourselves in a kind of passive situation. And when we don't know what to do, we really want to default to development. So as an example, bishop f4. If we don't know what to do, just play something like that. Maybe next we'll play knight e5. We don't know what to do, you bring your coconuts out. And that is a mantra that as a GM has served me well. It doesn't matter whether I'm talking about a 1,000 player or 1,600 player. If you don't know what to do in the opening, bring your peoples out. Knight d2. Simple play. And now e4, he says, question mark. And there's a variety of reasons why this is wrong. For one, it encourages black to finally play d4. Yeah. Black could also play knight d4. You know, you got a lot of options. So d4. Now, one of the things actually about it is this d4 move that your opponent does. I don't think it's best. Because you are now in a position to play it more like a King's Indian. Like your knight's already moved. And this bishop is now hitting a rock. So I think this, of the possible moves, d4 at this moment, not the greatest. Okay, knight e5 touching our nut. Now, I don't like this move, knight e5. I would personally play queen c2, hoping to whack him later with f4. Okay, knight g6. Rook b1. Now, in general, what you should maybe feel about this position is your pawns are really pointed towards the king side, and you should be thinking about knight e1 and f4. A little weird, because that knight on g6 is poor, but you are fixing a bad knight. He takes. Great. Poor. Not developing, not doing anything. Again, poor. He doesn't know what's going on. Bishop d2. You could just play b4 if you wanted to. And here you thought too long. Okay, so we're talking about time issues, and this is a good example of it. Spinal Tap, I'm doing all right, buddy. This is a good example maybe to think about your problems. You say about bishop d2, I move my bishop back to support the b4 pawn push. But the 14 minutes you spent here were clearly unnecessary, okay? You need to move, buddy. And the reason is that in this position, you're not calculating anything. And when I say you, I mean no one is. There's not a lot of calculation you can do here. You might come up with some plans, but there's no calculation to be done. Now, first thing is, I can tell that you didn't appreciate you had a King's Indian style position and that later f4 might be a good move. So I can feel like, oh, you don't really know exactly what to do. But unless you're calculating something really intense, you never want to think that long. Knight d7. I don't know why we're not playing b4. Rook f1. And so now he does change his mind. He's going to put the pawn to f4. Okay, black is not doing anything. Now f4, please. Good move. Good move. Now we got an initiative. There we go. Let's play g4. Yeah, buddy. Very good. Knight f6. All right, big moment here. He talks about knight e5, bishop d6, and knight g4. Instead, though, just calmly plays h3. Now, the obvious question to ask is, well, why aren't we playing g5? We should at least have that as a variation. I still love your position here, though. Wow, very fancy. You talk about g5. Yeah, we could have done it last move, too. This is fancy. King f2, by the way, I mean, there are universes where I can imagine it to be a good move. Right here, I don't quite get it yet. This I also don't get. And now you play king e1. Just go back. Just go back to g1. I think you're crushing it. Okay. And now definitely knight takes d2. So what is it about? It's about achieving the blockade square with knight e4 later. Now I assume e4 is going to kill you. Check to the miserable king. Aye, chihuahua. So there it was, painful blunder. Now he asked to see against this Ronald game, and I think one of the reasons is he was taking forever, and this blunder has everything to do with the too much time that he had spent in the game. Cross Online asks, when is my next tournament? Good question. Me and Kostya are going to play the U.S. Masters in Charlotte. I'm sure there's going to be some kind of Naroditsky Memorial thing going on there, but that's going to be basically Thanksgiving time. It'll be a big event. All right. Bows. What are we looking for? Simple thing, John. You're doing great. Don't overthink the intuitive moves. Intuitive moves, you just got to move them. You got to force yourself to move. If you're calculating, then you are allowed to think for a little longer. Okay? That is the thing that encouraged me to break my own time pressure habits. The simple statement, And also realize that if you are got some time control, with like game 90 or you had game 140, 1 hour 40, if you are taking more than 10 minutes a move, you need to hear my voice in your head being like, Bows, I gotta just force myself to move. I just gotta move. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Malk. All right, so let's continue. That was John Lynch. Now we have Danielle Gentile or Gentile. And we're going to change this here. 24 years old, born in Italy, now live in the U.S., bachelor in AI. Okay. Married with 1 kid. That's early. And 1 more on the way. Great. Oh, this is great. I always admire people who start families early. I did not. I did not. So, Danielle is doing great. She's using her USCF. Wait a second. Now, I don't know. I don't know why I thought it was Danielle. It could be just Daniel Mouse. So, I don't know which one it is. All right. So, he might be a she is what I'm saying. All right, clubs, coders, DMV, maybe also, and then also the Italian one. Beautiful. And it looks like Daniel just joined, so we might not have any games. Oh, we got loads of games. Holy moly. All right, here we go. This is Daniel against Shankar. First, do we have times? It's a very quick game. It looks like people just moved instantly. Now, whether that's correct with the time, I don't know. Let's go game review. And now, E4. Fine. That looks poor to me. D6 would be normal. Good. Weird. And now knight C3, which is fine. Though, really, if we played rook E1, is the guy going to get crispy crittered? I don't know. It looks dangerous to me. Castles, rook E1. Good. I liked it better last move. D6, H3. I don't like that. I want you to move your bishop somewhere and attack the queen. H3 is not a developing move. Weird. Thank you. Good. Queen D2. Not terrible, but bishop D3 makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Weird move. F6. Not developing. Check to the queen. Good move. And now a dirty trick. Dirty trick. One of the things we should say is the king already on G8 is upset. So you playing B3 encourages him to play king H8. Further, you're about to play bishop H6, but I don't know if you really want to. This guy's a real chump. So maybe like bishop F4, something like that. Okay, here we go. Boom. Bishop F5, reasonable move. And you say this, but now he's got rook F7. Okay. Rook takes, and now, well, this is pretty good, actually, this rook takes. He blows it and should have played queen F7. Now, one thing I think I'm going to take back, I'm going to do a take back myself, is I didn't understand the point of bishop G7 at first, but if it's true, and it looks to be true, that black must make some kind of concession now, then this is a really good move. So rook F7, if they take with the queen, we'll double their pawns, we'll be up in development, we'll be doing great. Probably just flat out winning. So for example, boom, 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 boom. Oh, I don't think he's going to live through this. My knight's coming, my rook's coming, the knight's coming here. Oh, my lord. Okay, so they do this, and then finally our B3 really pays off. Bam! Take that, you fool. Well done. Where's the mop-up job now? They just resign, pin and win. So that was a great game. All right. Beautiful stuff. And that's Daniel. Welcome to the dojo, Daniel. I like your story here. Impressed that you've got a family so early. And now we have P. Perezzel. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do P. Perezzel and N. Best. Then I'm going to take a break because my eyes are starting to bleed. Let's read what he says. This is my 4th graduation this year. I have not been very consistent with my training since the summer because I relocated with my family back to Spain, and more important tasks got in the way. But I can't complain. In this cohort, I really enjoyed Learn Chess the Right Way because it forced me to think about my opponent's intentions, which has reflected positively, especially in my classical games when I had plenty of time to do this. We've had negative feedback about that book, by the way, so it's a little, some people have liked it, some people not so much. Studying Morphy's games has helped me play more aggressively. There's a book about the first book of Morphy that he did in the cohort. In some of my games, I have also managed to introduce ideas from logical chess move by move. Although not in every game, you can have 2 bishops controlling diagonals for a kingside attack. Finally, I'm trying to solve puzzles from chess puzzles from improvers by sticking to the forcing moves method. I find this useful when solving puzzles, but much more difficult to apply in games, although I'm getting better at it. Beautiful. Here comes Mr. Perezzel. It's not Mr. Perezzel. I bet he's Perez. Pablo Perez. It's Pablo Perez. Okay. So, as you can see, Pablo is working hard on it. 1002. Graduating a gazillion times. Look at that. Crushing it. And often hitting his 7-hour desired mark. You could see he moved back to Spain in one of these X periods. Okay, so beautiful progress. And he's got a pretty high tactics rating too over here. That looks pretty good. Clubs, we got a Spain. Oh, how about we get us, Pablo, get us a Spain. Give us a Spain one. That's what we need. Do we got some games? We got loads. Oh, but these are a little older. Hold on. Date created. No, I might have already done this one. This is a while back. Let's just see. Okay, we'll take a look. So, we see at least one game like this every time we do a graduation show, and that is a game where the opponent simply is not thinking at all. And this, if you've been wondering what I meant about taking your time, this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. Whereas opponent, it's 30 plus 30, he's not thinking at all. That's why you get a time management rating of 0. Right? And that's why one of the main motivations for me to push the dev team to be like, we need a time management rating, is for people to visualize what it means to have good time management. And here Pablo is crushing it. And as I said, it was one of the 3 skills to make 1,000. We are obviously beyond 1,000 now. But, if you haven't learned the skill, this guy opened my mind, might be a true chess genius, but he can't control his impulsivity at the board. Okay, brilliant. Let's get into it. So, good, fine, poor, h6. That isn't it. Good. Knight takes d4 also is not good because now your queen's developed. Good move, simple and strong. Poor, giving us the d5 weakness. Good move. Good move. Wait, not a good move. Not a good move. Queen f3. White does not want to play a move like queen f3 if it can be defended with a developing move, which is knight f6. So castles or bishop f4 should be our defaults. Okay, interesting. And now g5. Don't like it. Don't like it. That wasn't it. h3. That isn't it either. Castle, son. Castle. That wasn't it. He needed to go back. Thank you. Thank you. No good. So one of the things, Pablo, that we want you to see is you're having a lot of the same difficulty as your opponent. You need to start developing your people. Slow. Poor. giving you the d5 square. Your knight had a problem. Now it doesn't. Good. Poor, not developing. Good move. Get out of there. Yeah, we don't like this. So I think you're thinking you want to take the pawn on d6 or weaken it, but just compare the knight and the bishop. Oh, man, that knight is so much nicer. And now we're passive with our rook. Check the miserable. That wasn't it. He needed to play back to b8. Good. I don't understand queen c3. You need to fix your rook on h2. It's poor. That wasn't it. Boom. And you say a very important thing here. You say, black is playing blitz instead of classical. And so, again, maybe the guy had a high enough rating, so he probably has some skills, but this inability for him to slow down, it's not just him. There'll be many players at this level, especially below this level, who are not thinking and making bad moves as a consequence, right? So, very typical. All right, we're going to do one more and then take a little break. Boom. Here is N best. A lot of times I would stop the show here. I'm going to go just because, up to 1,000. But I'm going to go a little further today after my little break. So clubs. South African Dojo. Interesting. Games. Oh, wait. Wrong one here. This is N best. Does N best have a game? No. Understandable, though. N best joined the dojo fairly recently. So a lot of times people haven't figured out, haven't had time to do a game. Bilbo Laggins. That's a good chess name. All right, my friends, I'm going to take a quick break and then come back in a second after I just take a little pause and get myself something to drink. Okay, we're back. Yellow has an interesting point. He says, the master games from the dojo meant for analysis feel weird for me. In my cohort, the games are all about Karpov, and I do not get most of them. They feel like the opposite style of what I play in every way, and it is hard for me to persuade myself to analyze them. Should it feel like this? Maybe. And that could be the case. Somebody could have that attitude about any world champion. And the Karpov's game's very instructive. Even if you don't intend to play like that ever in your life, you need to have a sense of what that is. What is it that dude is doing? Okay, so let's continue. Okay, so we continue. It is time. That was N best. And next up, we have Lucas Purcell. Oh my God, we got a lot, dude. We got a lot going on here. Will I finish today? I am not forcing myself to finish, by the way. We might not finish. No idea. So, Lucas Purcell just joined. Got a great progress. Clubs, games, and we got at least one. Now, again, I want people to put it into the classical, in the My Games category. Ooh, but this one is not annotated. We definitely want to only look at games that are annotated. So, right. There's a clock time there. Also, for this cohort, this is not a long enough time control. Now, I'm not yelling at him, though, because he has just joined and doesn't know the rules of the dojo. So for next graduation, we're going to hope to see more work and more games. Next up, we have Hogboon. Hogboon says, I dropped down 2 cohorts previously, as after a while my rating was much higher than my skill level. This is the first step back. I really like the emphasis on playing longer games and using an actual wooden board. Great. This has made a massive difference to how I see the things. So here's Hogboon. What are you doing, Kraai? I'm trying to do something. Here we go. Here's Hogboon. And Hogboon is now in the right cohort. So Used to play in the Glaswegian leagues. Drifted away from chess. Came back to the game after 37 years or so. Wow. Okay, beautiful. And Jesse, I know I do more opening work than you recommend, but I find at my age it's helping to sharpen up my memory again. Okay, here's Hogboon, and boom. Here you can see all that red is opening work, the non-allowed opening work, right? And I think, we should just say, like, when you do stuff that's non-dojo, it's not necessarily the end of the world. It's just not the best way for you to improve. And openings are a typical way that people lose the path, as it were, right? Is Kostya doing U.S. Chess Championship coverage later? Good question. He hasn't said anything to me yet, but it wouldn't be surprising to me if he kicks me off. And I think the games coverage might start around 1:30, so that might be a good time for me to boot it anyway. So let's go look at clubs. UK Dojo, my games. Oh, we got loads of games. Okay, so Hogboon. So first we're going to take a look at the time graph. Ooh, look at that. Very nice. Something I just want people to understand, especially if you are lower rated. See that as we go up in the cohorts, more and more people are using their time really well, right? As Hogboon is here. So well done there. We'll switch into game review mode. Fine. 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 Good. Good. Fine. And now knight a5 is a little weird. Now, I think one of the things that's challenging for both players is to understand that the better bishop is actually the one on e3. And second of all, if you take on b3, white can recapture with a pawn, and it will control this very important c4 square. So, for example, queen d2. Black can still do a typical plan here with bishop d7 and rook c8. However, he takes, and white does not understand it and plays ab. My suspicion is white does this because they don't know. They don't know about AV and the control of the c4 square. So, good move. Takes. You're determined to take this. Although this doubles white's pawns, which turns out to be very important later in the game, I should have kept the bishop pair to try and create some counterplay. And now, amazingly, I'm going to say amazingly, white takes back this way. AB would have been fine, but CB might well be a grandmaster move. And we've seen this in a lot of Sicilian positions. The point is that if you play AB, maybe black can start some counterplay with a5, a4. I believe in white's position, by the way. But the point with CB is, now I'm going to play king b1, and my king is going to be very safe. And at some point, I'm going to play knight d5. a6, that makes no sense. You got to be thinking about rook c8 or something. g4, frisky. I would rather white just play king b1. There he goes finally. Okay, I'm not sure what you're doing. Bishop a6, poor move. It looks very thematic, but the issue is that my bishop really needed some help anyway. Good move. Poor. If he's going to play this way, he needs to play h4 first. Okay, now you play h5. I think this is reasonable. Okay, good. Check to the miserable queen. I think he should maybe, okay. Good move. Now you should be fine. Now notice here, The pawn CB move no longer makes sense. Doesn't make any sense. Right. So here he would rather have AB. It doesn't. It's like you have an extra pawn in the middle of the board now. He likes this move. Knight C5 makes more sense to me. E6. I don't know. We're allowing F6, and now we're allowing that. We got some grief. All right, mistake. So what this is going to do is this is going to allow our pawn to be passed and the E5 pawn to become a weakness. Notice that if white had avoided this, it would be very difficult for us to ever move our pieces. We can't move our knight to D7, for example. So we're really in a bind. This frees our bind. Knight E4. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We want to mention actually that rook B8 here would also be a bummer for black, because that way they don't get the pawn. Okay, reasonable. King B1, good movement. Now you're hitting D2 and H4. Very nice. Rook C3, you say thank you, and now we roll. There we go. Very nice. He says the C2 square is removed from the white knight. I think he means F2, but all the same, that is correct. So, well done. And very good use of time. And Hogboon, has been studying some openings. One thing that we want to say about some of these decisions is this, as an example, is a very theoretical position. So you could lose your mind studying it. But white didn't really know what they were doing. And you're just kind of developing your pieces as well. So, analyzing this game, if you wanted to play, say, this setup, would be one of the best ways to do it. Now, the standard plan, by the way, is bishop d7, rook c8, knight e5, and c4. You can do other things too, but that's the standard plan. Okay, well done. Choop choop. Choop choop, I don't know what that means. Next up, we have a famous dojo word. This is scripta. And he says, I'm thrilled to be graduating again. My journey back to chess started about a year ago, and I spent the first 10 months without much direction and failing to show any improvement from my efforts. Finding the dojo was exactly what I needed. The organized approach has been fantastic, but more than that, it has helped me become more passionate and engage with chess in a way I hadn't expected. I've even taken the plunge and hired my first coach. Okay. My second graduation came on the heels of my first, so I haven't explored all the new content, but I wanted to share some feedback on my experience in the 1011 cohort. Memorizing games. I've really enjoyed this task as a way to work on visualization away from the board. However, I found the leap to the Steinitz first Bartoleben game to be significant. The associated video is great for getting hyped about the brilliant finish, but a bit more of a narrative breakdown of the whole game would make it easier to memorize, similar to the videos for the lower cohort games. Or 2, I think that's fair. It's a hard game to memorize, actually. I remember the final sequence is like, oh my God, that's deep. Winning Chess Tactics by Sarwan. I have mixed feelings here. The instructional content is clear and well organized, but perhaps a bit basic for this level. In contrast, the chapter tests can be incredibly tough. Sarwan himself admits some are very difficult, and I found myself wondering if I should spend 5 minutes or 30 on a single problem. Adding a small note to the task description, like a recommended time limit per test, would be a huge help in guiding us improvers. Okay, now, I almost want you to write this up. In particular, like if you thought there was you came up with what the time limit should be. I want to say one thing about just tactic books in general is when you look, there are an astounding amount of tactics books out there, but most of them are written for higher rated players, of which there's just fewer high rated players. So it's actually hard to find good tactics books for the lower levels. And one of the problems they have is exactly what you're saying, where sometimes the material, the explanation part seems basic, and then the tests or problems themselves are like, oh my God, this is really tough. Chess Tactics from Scratch has a similar thing going on. And I didn't even, I could talk at length. I don't want to talk at length. I don't want to talk at length. I'm going to put your note, though, in our doc. So Scree Top. So we have a doc where we log complaints about tasks, notes on winning chess. We collate it, and then every year we have a big convo about what should go and what should stay. To doc. Okay, good. Let's get into Scree Top here. Scree Top, as you see, is crushing it. Friday Harbor, Maine, Washington. I don't know why I said Maine. It's also kind of on the side of the road. Side of the road? You can tell I'm losing it a little bit. Actually, I'm going to tell Kostya while I'm at it here. So we'll say, at hello Kostya, feel free to boot me if you want to do STL. Okay, genius. That'll give me a good excuse to get off before I lose my mind. Okay, so Scree Top is amazing. He is flying up there. He's got a USCF rating too. We got some clubs. We got to get a Washington club there, bud. Got to get a Washington club. Here's some games. This one's a fairly recent game. Dojo Open Classical. First, we'll take a look at the times. And there you see it, my friends. People moving definitely way too fast. Also, if you can remind me, I want to talk about what's going on at move 33. We'll just see what happens there. Game review. Boop. So far, so good. Okay, fine. Good move. Good move. And I would say, honestly, you're better. White lost the tempo. You're doing great. Knight BD2. Good. 97. Poor. So, the key reason why this is a very dangerous position for white is because b5, b4 is very hard to deal with. Once you get there, it's going to be hard for white to move. Notice b5, a3. I still play b4, and it's going to work because of the pin. So, a very dangerous position for Mr. White. This is also not developing. Yeah. Now, bishop g3 makes a lot of sense. The computer wants some other weird stuff, but, b5. Rook a6. b5 makes sense to me. Notice that both players are unconvinced by b5. Of course b5 should be played. Dangerous for him. You played rook c8. Bishop a3 is in general the move that's going to be looking into their coconuts here. Bishop b2 taking this thing. Rough. Notice this is a big deal. Rook c8. Poor because the rook was doing a job on a8. So what this shows me too is you were obsessed with winning the bishop. Okay. Knight e5. I don't know. Computer likes e4. Good move. Bishop g4. And now maybe you're winning. That wasn't it. Whoa, fancy. EF5 would be the natural move. G6. Wow, you're getting super fancy. Just move the knight, buddy. Just move the knight. Oh, good. 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 You're killing. Do I like this move? This move is dangerous because you're encouraging rook b7. And maybe you should do it right now. Okay. See how I'm worried, right? Now he needed to play the other rook to a7. Good move. Thank you very much. Good move. Should be winning this one. All right. He blew that one. Good. I like this g5, g4 stuff. There we go. Simple chess. So one of the things, I'm not going to yell at him about move 33. That was when both sides kind of stopped thinking. Actually, I should. I'm going to yell at him. I'm going to yell at him. Both sides stopped thinking here. And yes, there was a moment where White made it easier on him. But both players need to realize this is a very technical, hard position. Black might be winning, but there's like a pin problem if White plays rook a7. Right? Kenji Suka, thank you for subbing. And we looked at your stuff earlier, so that's cool that you're here. So we're going to mark that as reviewed. Well done. That was the famous scree top. The guy is going to be here for a while. You're going to see him again. Next up, we got Aelnor. And Aelnor says, nothing. Aelnor, he didn't say nothing, bud. He is going up, though. He's 1101. Let's pop this out. Bang, look at that. Aelnor is working. The higher we go, the more work we're going to see. All right, games. We got a game. This is from a while back. I might have already looked at this. Yeah, I already looked at this. So, Aelnor, we know what you need, bud. You need to continue your beautiful work and put up some more games. Next up, we got Big J93. There he is, Big J93, aus Deutschland. 1260, looking good. And maybe not logging their work. Maybe, we'll see. But they're doing otherwise pretty good. German Dojo. Here's Big J. This is Big J. Boom. Let's see. It doesn't say like if it's online or what, but it looks like it's probably an OTB game. We don't have clock times. Again, you can always put the clock times in manually. Might seem impossible to do. It is worth it. Thank you, Kenji Suga. All right. Fine. Weird. Because you don't want to take that knight ever. And you took it. So now your dark square is a little funny. Okay. D5. Again, dark squares are funny. And you talk about D6. Absolutely. Bishop D7. Snip, snap. Yeah, and white's a little bit better. F4. You talk about knight C6. That makes sense to me. That looks passive. You never have to take on E3. Interesting. And now a nice move. Bishop B5. Good. And so now, notice your bishop is kind of doing something now. Right? He's not a total chump. Okay. Queen A5. Doesn't make any sense. B6. Reasonable. A5. I don't know about this. You're inviting the queen in. Making me nervous. White's just messing around. C5. Beautiful move. Here we go. Little convergence happening. Oh, that's frisky. Check to the miserable king. Are we letting him out? I had the feeling that I have nothing left to fight for as I pushed his king into the corner myself. I offered a draw as I was very afraid of his activity with queen and knight. Well, hold on, boss. So you've got this beautiful position. Why are we offering a draw? One of the cool things about this, you checked it with the computer, but this is something actually you could find with a human eye. Okay. Right. And the main thing to see is this beauty right here. That's what he deserved, too. Okay. So, little bit wimpy, Big J, little bit wimpy. One thing I want to say is a lot of the mistakes in this game had to do with people exchanging things they shouldn't do, right? Like you giving up your dark square bishop for a sad knight and then allowing him to come into e5. Him then not understanding that you could free the bishop with bishop b5. So notice that that's a much higher level of kind of mistake than the basic hanging of stuff that we saw in the lower cohorts, right? Okay, here we go. Victor Giuliani is next. Let's go see what Victor says here. So, here's Victor Giuliani. Maybe just joined. 1337. We got some clubs. Brazil. Do we got some games? We don't. So, Victor, welcome to the dojo. I understand you just got here. And, hopefully we'll see a game from you next time around. Next up, we got Dr. Seuss. Hi, Jesse, and anyone else reading this. If I got to win versus a 1900, I got to win versus a 1900 rated player. Amazing. Perhaps you could review this one. I tried to be more generous with the annotations, although I did use the engine for some lines. I also made sure to share the game in a way that includes the timestamps. Beautiful. And I think that's crunchy, 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 is what Dr. Seuss is saying. So, okay. That's good. Don't practice no Ruy Lopez. So you can see Dr. Seuss is here. Dr. Seuss has graduated twice, and he's crushing it. Okay, so this is looking good. Welcome to the dojo, Dr. Seuss. I think he's also in chat, so that's cool. And let's take a look at clubs. Nothing. Put yourself in a club, Dr. Seuss. Games. Now, we want to do knight without armor. He didn't have armor that time. So, look at that, my friends. Beautiful clock graph. And notice both of them played, with the clock at least, they played pretty good. So that's well done. All right, here we go. So there's a 45 plus 30. Fine, 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 fine. Knight e4, I don't know. So why is it a bad move? Because it's moving a developed piece twice, and the knight on d2 is really white's worst minor piece, so you're going to trade that thing off. What would be better? Castles. Castles would be better. Snip, snop, knight d2, okay, f5, bishop b5, reasonable, I think. Actually, the other thing, now the following, the variation I'm going to show you is happening because you didn't develop properly, and that's queen h5. Actually, I'm not sure it works. I'm not even sure it works. But this would, which Kraai? This is an example of my mind being a little loopy. Hey, Kostya, come take over. I thought we could play rook h8. And even then I was like, rook h8, you can go here. And why did my mind go to that h-file open? Because the bishop, trade thing, which hasn't happened. All right, here we go. Bishop g3, hg, a6. But notice, now it can happen. And in fact, this is how this went down in the game. Now, Why is a6 poor? Because you're not developing. Why is bishop d6 poor? Because you're developing his rook. So again, one of the key things to understand, once we pass 1200, excuse me, 1000 dojo, 1250 chess.com, the mistakes in the game will generally have to do with time, development, right? So here we gift white 2 tempi. There's one, we developed a rook, and now a6, we develop another one, and that's why queen h5 is working. Amazingly, I saw this tactic in a position where it didn't work, and here it comes. Okay. Obviously unfortunate. Your opponent makes a simple and strong move. He's got other moves too, but that's a simple and strong one. That's also simple and strong. g6, check to the miserable king, and now he goes knight d6. Oh, that's not nice. Fine. I don't understand h5. What should he do? He should castle long. Probably also is dangerous. But yeah, he's giving you a little touch at least. Here. That was unnecessary to play b4. Okay. I don't know what he's doing. Bishop a6. So white plays queen a5. And this is where they probably needed to think a little bit. So this is, even if it works, it's imprudent because it looks like we are opening all of black's business up. And there's a real question of what he should do. Black talks about queen a4, but queen a4, it's a bishop c4 also could be a thing. And c4 is the stockfish move, and that's a pretty highfalutin move. The idea of c4 would be that you want to move the bishop, but when you move the bishop, there's knight c4. So I blew it with queen a4 because bishop c4 is meant by knight c4. Okay. hd1. It looks reasonable, but then you sink it. Oh, buddy. Oh, ouch. Ay, chihuahua. Has to bite it. Ooh, that's a nice move. That's a nice move. Rook takes b4. Check to the miserable king. Checkmate. So, time, activity of pieces. Both sides had problems estimating how these dynamics worked out. And, in the end, black was victorious, but both sides fundamentally had a problem with it. Queen takes a5, activating the rook on a8. Bishop takes g3, activating the rook on h1. a6, giving white another tempo. So these are the fundamental things. Once you pass the 1000 dojo, about 1250 chess.com, that's where the meat of improvement is going to happen, because your opponents will do this. They will not be developing consistently. Okay, well done. We'll go back to the grad show template. Bang. That is Dr. Seuss. And next up, we got Sweat Gland. Sweat Gland says, now that I dropped my provisional from my USCF, I am ready to hit the button again. I've been grinding hard and again want to thank so many folks, primarily Cross, M. Norris, and Keith C., as they have been my primary training buddies. But lots of assistance has come from Senior Moments, as well as Nose, Fiddler, Falk, Blind Badlet, and others. I have worked a lot on my strategic and general understanding of the game since my last graduation, and though I have a lot of progress yet to be made, I have started to see the fruits of my efforts. I still struggle to control my impulsive behavior, as well as I'm lacking in my blunder checking and defensive abilities. But Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither are these skills. If you'd be so kind as to review my most recent game against Omar. Okay, we will do it, Swagland. So, Eastern Washington. We had a Western Washington. Totally different worlds, Eastern and Western Washington. Look at this beautiful thing Sweatland's got going on. He has been crushing it. and graduated already a number of times, gone up 304. Really great. Really beautiful stuff. Thank you, Crunchy, aka Dr. Seuss. Okay, we got this chess comp stuff going on, and he's got an amazing tactics rating. The tactics rating suggests that there's something else going wrong with the sweat gland. So maybe we're going to see a little bit of that in this thing here. He's lacking the blunder checking and defensive skills. That's what he says anyway. Let's go look. Clubs. If I could get, look at it, lifting heavy things, dude. We are overrepresented in the number of graduations. We only got 37 members, but we are graduating more than anybody. Thank you very much. So, we got games. First, I want to check again. We wanted them in the My Games thing, and I believe he said Omar, so that's what we're gonna do. All right. So now, ba-boom, and like I said, my friends, this is how we can really crush people if they don't think. So you can tell Omar has a pretty nice USCF rating, but they don't know how to think. And our guy, Sweat Gland, dude, he's got a monster time graph. Look at that thing. Really well done. So this is an OTB tournament. Let's get into it. Ba-bam. So boom, boom, boom. Fine. So ED5, knight D5, and now for sure it's not A3, right? That ain't it. If you could just, like, let's just say you don't know anything about openings and just ask yourself, what's the right move? Well, the right move is going to be castles. That's the move. So you did a lot of analysis, but in a way, what I want you to feel it, is that castles is the right move. You're going to put a rook on E1. You're going to give this guy drama. Okay? Yeah. A3, poor. Thought for 11 minutes, too. So that's also an example where you're thinking way too long on an intuitive move. And he was thinking that the F3 knight pin would be significant once he castled. So look, he analyzes a big chunk here. Bishop G4. Now, what's the basic move? Rook E1 is the basic move. Yeah. We're wasting this fool. We're wasting. That guy needs to worry about his coconuts. Okay. So A3, that's the move. You know Jesse's going to probably yell at you. Okay, passive again. You're terrified of this Bishop G4 thing. Okay, we're losing time. That looks like a blunder. Boom. 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 Thank you very much. If black had taken their time, maybe this wouldn't have happened to it. Boom. Boom. Simple chess. Very good. Knight F6. And you could do anything here. I like your move. Yeah, I like your move fine. Thank you very much. Sure. And then simple chess. Yeah, we don't have to be hard about it. Very nice move. Bishop E3. If queen B2, well, we're going to see what happens because dude does it. If he doesn't take B2, then we know bishop B3 is the move we want anyway because it's a what? Developing move. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good move. Rook EB1. I don't like it. You spent a minute here. And just in terms of activity of pieces, it's rook AB1, as you correctly know. And notice it doesn't have anything to do with calculation. Nothing. Because this rook has a job and this one doesn't. So if we're going to put something on rook B1, it's going to be this one, right? Okay. Now I'm a little concerned. That isn't it. What is he doing? He's thinking you're going to mate me, buddy? No, you ain't going to mate me. You ain't going to mate me, bud. Queen E5. Now, there's a bunch of different things you could have done. But what's going on here? All right. Fine. And now d4 as a weird move. So, definitely this is a moment where we need to just think for a second. And you talk about rook AA1, about c4. My personal thing would be c4 just because I'm saying to myself, I got to get this rook into the game. So notice the thing about d4 is it's a little bit random in the sense that your one job is to bring the rook on a2 into the game. Check to the miserable king, and now it was a draw. Oof, 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 oof. And you had plenty of time left. Plenty of time there on move 33. All right, plenty of time. So I'm sure that hurt. But Sweat Gland, you are doing pretty good, bud. You are doing pretty good. And one of the things we're going to say is, you're going to run into a couple chumps like this where they move too fast. And what I want you to gain religion on, okay, is moves like a3. No, that isn't it, right? Knight d2, blocking up your stuff. Terrified of some bishop g4 stuff. That's not it, right? Bishop b5, in general, a poor move. That bishop's already got a job. And yes, they have to respond. Yes, they have to do something like f6 or something, right? Okay, so well done. We're going to get out of here. All right, so next up we have Nihawichi. And actually, let's just take a quick pause. I'm not going to get off the stream, but I just want to go look to see if and when this event has started. I feel like it's now. All right. Yeah, it has started. I don't know anything about what Kostya is doing. Now, normally when we do this, we don't have the engine on. It's just opening moves. But it defaults to having the engine on. That's why it's on. I'm not going to do a big commentary now. I got a job to do as it is. I'm hoping Kostya comes take over from me. We got a Berlin with Neiman Liang. People say it's a draw. I decline that. I say it's not a draw. We got Robeson and Woodward. That'll be interesting. We got Mishra over here. Notice he's got a little bit of a position that close to what Sweat Gland was dealing with. Notice that if bishop g4 terrified white, it was like c3 and I kill your knight on c6. You're not going to do no nasty knight d4 to me. Shanklin game. That's gonna be fun. Shanklin's risking the time on off. So we'll see what's going on. Sevi and So. That's a roughly equal position, but anything could happen. And Svirts, Oparin, we could care less. We could care less, but that's a typical C3 Sicilian thing going on there. Do I still use a paper notebook? Yes, indeed. I've got a paper. I've got it right here. I've been working on it. I did a game analysis this morning. So I did a game analysis and I inputted it. I would say inputting it into the database is my least favorite part of it. But I do it. I gotta do it. All right, we might check in later. Kostya might be like, hey, boss, I'm coming in. But he hasn't said nothing. He might be out eating tea and crumpets. You never know. All right, so that was Sweat Gland. I don't think I just did this Nihawichi. But we're going to go look. Here's Nihawichi just joined. Clubs, probably nothing. Games, probably nothing. Let's see. No. Nihawichi, welcome to the dojo. Yeah, hopefully we'll see some more work and some games from you. Next up, we got MP3 Jam. I believe I remember MP3 Jam. So, ba-boom. Open link. There's MP3 Jam. So, doing a lot of work. Been here. Oh, look at this. Yeah. This guy's doing it. The work. Graduated numerous times. Clubs. Seattle. There we go. That's, I think, our third person from Washington State this today. And this, we need a game more recently, actually, MP3 Jam. Let's just see if I've covered this already. No, I guess we'll cover it. Ideally, we'd want one a little bit more recent. As you can see, though, MP3 Jam, known also as Micah, did much better on the clock here. Much better. So it's always satisfying to me when the dojo player does better on the clock. All right. He says he'll be on a little bit later. I'm going to ask him when. So we're going to hit review. I already did, buddy. Now we're going to go game review. Boop, boom. So, boop, boop, boop. Here we go. Good moves. Good moves. Maybe I like D5 better, but okay. A little weird, but okay. Good. And what I like about this is you waited for white to play knight d2. And the point is that the knight would really like to come to c3. So we're waiting for him to play knight d2. Good. Good. Queen c7. Weird. Should take on e5 like a normal person. Queen d3 is trying to stir up some drama. I don't like it though. d5. Why? Because the queen's going to end up getting popped on the d file. Or losing your pawn. Oh, he hangs all his coconuts. That wasn't it. Good move. Probably fine. Now it's dangerous because of this rook e5 thing. But we're claiming we're okay. And I believe it. Good. Bishop c6 now. Yeah, there you go. Bishop c6. Good notes. I think you're doing fine, though. Cheap threat. Queen f6. I like bishop f6 better. Finally, bishop c6. Now, I think we're okay with bishop g5, but it's a little frightening here. So we've got rook f4, queen b2. Yeah, you're fine. Thank you very much. That looks reasonable. No fears. There's tears for fears, and then there's no fears. Queen f6. Yeah, terrible move. Good move. Thank you very much. Probably pretty good. Check to the miserable king. Ah, it was a great game. That was a great game. So, I would say notice as we go up the cohorts, there's like the mistakes become more and more subtle. Like this one, queen c7. Putting your queen on the wrong file. White will respond with queen d3, putting the queen on the wrong file. Also, white with queen d3 now just goes for broke and allows us to take the big fat pawn. And it's fine to sacrifice a pawn, but that big fat pawn is key to our attack, right? Okay, well done. I think ED as an example can't be a bad move here for white. All right, that's Micah and MP3 Jam graduating again. And now, my friends, I do not have to finish this. I'm telling myself this. We got Bo Disley. What does Bo Disley say? Started chess 23. Doesn't mark any work done. Adult improvers. Does he got games? No games. So Bo Disley, you've been here for a while. You need to mark some work, bud. You need to give us a game. Oh, there it is. So, next up, we got Rathias. Rathias has graduated a number of times. Up there in the 1500, you can see doing really well. He's in the Danish dojo. Okay, great. Games. games, loads of games. And this is Eric Dampa. So I'll give this a little click. And something got wrong in the time graph. My guess is that the player, well, that Eric started putting in the times like here instead of at the bottom. So the computer thought he was starting from 0 and suddenly got a bunch more time. That is fixable. Okay, let's go game review and check this bad boy out. Here we go. Fine. Poor, not developing. DC5 and falling into this. Bishop B7. Snip. Fine. Good. I like this move a lot. Fine. A5. Well, it's hard to give this guy some advice, but that isn't something to be afraid of. Queen E2. Fine. I like knight BD2 too. Whoa, buddy, you're out of your mind. Now, he says threatens B5. He means B4. B4 what, Jesse? No, don't make that joke, but that's an old joke. We're not doing that one today. What would Jesse rather have you do? Knight D2, C4. Bring your people out. Weird. I'm not sure I don't like Bishop D2. Bring your knight out. That isn't it. Good. Good. There we go. Good move. Beautiful. Knight D4. Snip, snap. Bang! Bang! Oh, there it is, Eric Dampa. This chump didn't develop. That's what they get. Oh, we're not going to take your bishop. Oh, brutalicious. Brutalicious. Oh, man. That was a beauty, Eric. That was a beauty. Okay, so again, the mistakes at this level are a little bit more nuanced. Notice, no one is hanging pieces, and at least not directly. They make some development mistakes, right? And maybe even this guy, he was like, oh, I want to do, a lot of times they'll be like, at this level, they'll say like, I want to do something weird. I want to do something, throw my opponent off. Doesn't help. Ponzister says, hello. I'm pretty mad at chess. Sometimes I'm good, but only when the correct moves are obvious to me. The problem I run to is I poop my pants when I don't immediately see the correct course of action. Okay. Well, that's a problem when you poop your pants. It's very messy as well. All right, next up we got Ben S. Ben S says, lately the dojo has really kept me on top of game analysis and opening prep, which often feels like leg day for me. The recent book on game analysis by the sensei has been very helpful. Thank you. And I highly recommend it. I also had the good fortune of meeting and playing Kostya over the summer, which was a nice motivator to keep grinding. Now you can see Ben S. has graduated at least 3 times. Chess Dad Adult Improver. All right, New York City. All right, Marshall Chess Club. Beautiful. They are talking about moving the Marshall Chess Club. I don't know if that has happened or what. They seem to have made the decision. I don't know if they've actually moved. Kostya might have written me something. Kostya says in about an hour he's coming on. Oh, man, could I last an hour? Good question. I don't know. I don't know if I could last an hour. Let me say, I'm going to say sooner the better. My eyes are starting to bleed. Would be nice to hand off. Okay, this is Ben S. 1503. That gives me an excuse to take a mild break after a little bit, doesn't it? Okay, so 1503, doing great. Clubs. Oh, Ben S. After you talked all that smack about New York City, I know there's a New York City club, and if you could get me a Marshall club, if you could do that, I'd appreciate that. All right, games. My games. Kostya Kavutskiy against Ben Statz. Here we go. 921. So, No times are given. I don't know where this was or anything like this, but we have a dojo battle on our hands. So, snip. Fine. I like this setup for white. Queen e2. I like knight c3 because that's where the people go. You could do other things, of course. All right, so queen e2. So Kostya is going to revert now to what we usually call a Scheveningen structure. And white says, you know what? I'm going to go Moroxy bind style. F4. Simple chess. Okay. G4. Granted, Kostya was playing a simul and did not take long to play this move. It was premature and I completely missed why. One of the interesting things about this move, honestly, is when I'm playing a simul, I'm a real weenie. You know, I'm like, I'm not going to make a dangerous move like G4. I'm just going to play like Bishop E3, something, you know, I'm going to keep it simple. Because crazy things like your D5 move might happen. All right. Knight C5, Bishop C2, and now you blunder with E5. And the real problem with this is we're giving them these squares. Looks good for white. Now we're crispy critters. Yeah, we're losing our light squares. Yep. Check the miserable. Oh. I didn't know Kostya was out playing simuls all over the world. Simple chess. Wow, take it easy, Kostya. Dang. Oh, I blew it. Sorry about that. We're gonna fly through that. This is a typical mistake. I've been doing the show for years, but I have to flip between the different scenes, and I often don't do it. But I'm gonna go through here again. So Kostya is playing white. Ben is playing black. I would say it's a pretty standard position here, and Kostya loses his mind a little bit. And in general, like something like D5 is what we should be looking for. Let's get into D5 a half a second. So if G5, we have Bishop C5, which we're doing great. So CD5 here. This would be the main thing that I think would be hard to appreciate. Like, is it so obvious that black is better? The computer might be obvious, right? But this would be a thing. Like, we haven't taken on D5, and on knight F5, we have to appreciate that EF4 is coming because that poor bishop is pinned. And then we have control of the dark squares, everything going great. That is a high-level move, D5. Okay. Well done, Ben. And, yeah, I don't have any problem with what you're doing. One mildly interesting, too, is at least up to this point, he's playing a setup that I recommended in the aggressive repertoire for white. Well, Foos Chess, I hope I just described why that was the case. All right. Well done. Let's do another, and that's Keith C. Keith C. And he has graduated also a number of times. Ooh, look at Keith C. So, the man is on a mission. He is doing 7 hours a week, and he is crushing it. And as you can see, with work comes gains, 380 points. That's amazing. That's really impressive. Okay, so tactics rating seems fine. Clubs, New Hampshire, New England. All right, great. Games. Best games of My Games. I hope, again, I want people to put their games into the My Games file. Interesting. ChatGPT to analyze my games. Okay, so this is key C. This is our clock time, and the first thing we want to say is what happened at move 30? Did they just have cognitive fatigue? You know, we're gonna find out. All right, here we're gonna go game review. So boom. Cross was also, and Carl were there for the group game review. That's a beautiful thing. E5, definitely a mistake. And now White has, it's very evil now with bishop c4 and knight f3. Right? Probably forced. He doesn't like it because of queen d5. It's already a bad news bears, though. Knight f6, knight g5. It's rough. We're already in rough city here. Oh. Knight h6. Oh. Yeah, so we're toast. Okay. Queen d2. He trades. A little frisky, but whatever. Whatever. Rook g6, might as well. All right. F6, knight h2, a little weird. b5. Trying to keep it complicated, I guess. g4, White is the one making it complicated. White's the one making complications, buddy. So what should he think about? He should think about castling. He should think about taking the pawn. You know? That wasn't it. Okay. King h7, totally weird. Yeah, some move like d5. h5, no entiendo. All right. He's coming for you. Good move. GF. Okay. Rook c8. Queen d8. Okay. b3. I don't know. So we're still totally lost. Oh, I don't want to trade queens, but I also don't have a simple... he could have just traded, so he's getting a little bit frisky. Check to the miserable king. Check to the miserable king. Okay, unfortunately, he's got that. Oh, unfortunately, he's got that. Check to the miserable king. Oh. Now, remember what we said on move 30-something? Why aren't people thinking? Well, this is why, my friends. He does not resigned. But there it is, and he mates him with a rook because he's so angry with him. Now, I want to stress, though, one thing you should have a little sympathy with yourself for, and then think about fixing it, okay? This is the move. It's not over yet, but it's the move which poisons your position. And one thing I'd be interested in if I was your coach is I would be like, well, are you like a Najdorf or Shevesnikov player? Because, see, those people like to put their pawn on e5. But it would be pure dogmatism to play e5 in this position because of what we see in the game is this thing and this thing, both of which are going to happen to you in this game. So I think after this, it's already difficult to do. We're already in a little grief. Okay.